Now, this is a very interesting question, actually. The mother, the father, the personal, and the impersonal. Why we use the word divine mother, there's only one reason, not because we are feminist and we, we go for this, and I know that you all know this. It is because we know that the planet was very much suppressed by the masculine energy, and when there is too much masculine and there is a very tiny part of the feminine, things go wrong, and there have always been masters describing the Divine Mother and also the Divine Father, and both are legendary and very deep understanding of the nature of things. Now, the source of creation, which we know that is genderless and is beyond manifestations, in this world of relative existence with vibrations, here you have the feminine, the masculine, the personal, the impersonal. And let me just have the right to quote a very great saying of a great master. When we think about the love that is given by the source, we say that it is she. When we think about the powerfulness and the determination of the source, we say that the source is he. And when we think about the ultimate reality as the underlying principle of existence, the way existence works, the way life works, we say that the source is it. So these three manifestations of he, she, it, in reality, these are not different because these are the source, and the way source manifests itself in reality, that is how we refer to with he, she, or it respectively, to what quality of that manifestation we think about. Let me give an example. Babaji, for example, means revered father. Mataji, Babaji's sister, means revered sister, mother. So, for example, another reason why we use he, she is if we look into Judaism, there you have a lot of names of God. From Elohim to El Shaddai to Hashem, with all these names, you have a particular manifestation of the divine in a particular situation, and with respect to that situation, you use a certain name to describe what you mean by it. The same way, I personally use the name she because it very much expresses that, creation, the mother is from whom everything originates, the mother of the universe, as we say. And in reality, the mother and the father are the same as we say that Shiva and Shakti, but in reality, there is no Shiva and there is no Shakti, there's only that Shiva Shakti that is actually neither of them and both of them at the same time. And the two manifestations of the genders come just together and become one big existence. That is what we refer to as the source of all that is, because we know that if there is Shiva, there has to be Shakti, so the so-called counterpart is always there. So there is that being which is from which we see Shiva and Shakti, But from an absolute point of view, when we look at it from an absolute point of view, it was just the same self presenting itself as the mother and the father. For some devotees, it is easier to look at the divine as the father, which is of course correct, because it is the way the divine shows itself as the powerful, determined refuge that's very powerful. And of course, we know that Source can present itself to its devotees in whatever form the devotee can work with. So there are some to whom the mother is easier, for whom the mother is easier to grasp. For some others, the father is. And again, whenever I say the mother, I don't think of a form of it. It is more of the presence of that raw love the mother gives to the child, and that refuge and determination and power that the father gives to the child. And we know that if there cannot be a very powerful balance between in a life if there isn't that determination and at the same time that raw love as well. So both are in reality the same final goal, the source of all that is, with which we are one eternally and forever. So this is what we could say regarding, and also the personal and impersonal. There are people who call the divine personal, there are others who call it impersonal. And again, the question is, if these two things aren't in reality the same thing, how maybe, and maybe for sure, these two things of personal and impersonal are the same thing, just have we experienced them as different because of our understanding about things. And let me again quote a very great master, Ramakrishna, who said that personal and impersonal are like milk and its whiteness, as the sky and its blueness. They are inseparable, and furthermore, they are one and the same thing, just being there as both. And when we say impersonal love, what we mean by it is that it's not personal. It means that no matter what you do, no matter any circumstance, that is there because there is no personal feeling in it. It is just that it's always there to be accepted, and there's nothing that has to be denied regarding impersonal love. It's not something cold. It's not something cruel. It is just that it's always there, because if you think about an atom, the atom will not decide to just blow itself up and create a nuclear chaos. It's going to be there because there is this love within it, which is impersonal, because it's always there, that just holds everything together as a force. And this is why we always say impersonal love, not because the mother wouldn't speak personally to any of us or to any of her children, but because this love doesn't change with the changes of time. For the sake of simple understanding, we say that the impersonal mother with the impersonal love shows itself personally to her children to give them refuge and understanding.